Hey guys, what's up? It's Samantha, and today I'm going to be memory keeping and talking about what I read for the week of November 9th through the 15th. I'm using this beautiful Scribble Prints Co. mystery kit, and I can't remember off the top of my head what month it was, but it'll probably be in the title because I'll do some research and try to figure out what month this mystery was. And I love it. It came with a copper wiggle, so of course I had to use copper foil with it and pull in my absolutely favorite Simply Gilded washi, this gorgeous copper foiled wood grain that I am just so upset with myself that I did not get 2 rolls of, because it is by far my most used Simply Gilded washi. I think if you went back through my videos and looked at my spreads on Instagram, I use this so much. It is just as beautiful. It goes with anything that I'm using copper foil with. It goes. So, wish I had gotten another roll of that, but I didn't. Oh well. So, I am obsessed with everything about this spread. Just all of it. It's perfection. This is one of my favorite spreads that I've done, especially in like a memory keeping spread, in a really long time. And I love the sidebar. I love that double tall box that came with the kit. There were some fashion girls that came with, and I love it. I love all of it. This week was kind of a stressful week. I was very stressed out by the fact that a lot of people at my job would not just wear a mask. Not employees necessarily, but the public that were coming into the library. And this is when COVID cases were spiking really highly in Ohio. And I just did not feel super comfortable. And people were just literally had a guy just walk into my department without a mask on at all. And I'm like, how did you get up here? I'm on the 3rd floor. How did you get up here? And no one told you to put on a mask. Really? Really? So, yeah, I was kind of at the end of my rope. So you'll see several places as I'm putting down stickers where I'm very angry that people would not just wear a mask. It's not that hard. I have to wear a mask the whole time I'm at work, and somehow I survive. And it's like, you're coming in here for fun. Like, you can leave anytime you want, and you can't just wear a mask. Really? Like, it's our policy, like you're supposed to, but apparently no one's asking you to put the mask on except for me. So, anyways, maybe still a little salty about that. Maybe just a little. So, yeah. But this week I did read 3 books, and they're all very, very different from each other. This was just an all over the place kind of a reading week. The first book that I read was A Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. So I had tried to read the first book, I think Air Awakens, whatever the first book in that series is, and I read maybe 40% of it and decided, it wasn't the worst thing I'd ever read, but I'm like, I'd started it was free on Kindle Unlimited. I'd started it, a night I wanted to just have a couple glasses of wine, sit in my bedroom, like in bed with a wine glass, and read something kind of stupid that I didn't have to think too hard about. And I just never ended up finishing the book, and after a while I was like, I don't really care. But she had this new, I guess, like marketed more as like new adult series coming out, A Deal with the Elf King, and it was free again on Kindle Unlimited and very mindless, easy to read. And I actually didn't end up rating this because I honestly don't think it was very good, but I was highly entertained by it, and it's the kind of book that was great for the mood I was in. I wanted something really stupid, really fluffy, and something that I could just drink wine and read. And there wasn't really much plot. It was just very fun and fluffy and entertaining, which is what I wanted from it. I wasn't going into it looking for like the next great work of literature. I just wanted something stupid. It was pretty stupid. I will say, if you're looking for a steamy fantasy romance, this is very much fade to black. I honestly have read YA books that are more explicit than this was, and that kind of threw me for a loop because I was looking for a little bit of steam in this book, and there really wasn't. I mean, it implies that they do things, but it doesn't ever, nothing's ever described on page. And again, I know she has so many series and stuff that's interconnected, like in the Air Awakens world. I think there's multiple series. They always have gorgeous covers. Whoever does her cover art it's wonderful. But I would probably read, there's like going to be companion books in this world. I don't think they're going to be like direct sequels, but I might read the next book that she puts out in this world if I'm just in the mood to read something totally mindless, like I'm stressed, I just want to drink and eat popcorn and read something dumb. But I don't know that like Elise Kova is my favorite author of all time, but you know, it served its purpose. That's what I'm trying to say. So then the next book I read was The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley, and I gave this a 3 out of 5 star. So The Guest List by Lucy Foley was one of my favorite books last year. I really loved it in terms of mystery, thriller. It was the most fun I think I can possibly have while reading a mystery book. But The Hunting Party, I think, was her previous book before that, and I got it from Book of the Month as an add-on, and I mean, it was good. I think I read it pretty much in one day. I liked it, but I honestly can't remember, so I guess that, like, speaks volumes about how, like, little impact this book made on me, because I still remember pretty much everything that happened in the guest list, which is saying something, because I can't remember what I did yesterday. So, I remember thinking The Hunting Party was very atmospheric. It's one of those, like, closed, there's like a term for it, like a closed room or a closed something mystery where you're in, like, people can't get in or out. So whoever committed the murder is in this group of people and you don't know who it is and you have to figure it out. And I'm blanking on what the term for that is in mystery books. But it's one of those, a bunch of rich people at a ski resort, and I'm also wondering now if I'm mixing up parts of this with One by One by Ruth Ware, because they're very similar in terms of the setting, but I think this is like rich people up on a mountain, and there's snow, and they got there by train, and they can't get back because everything's closed off, and it's a very similar setting as One by One. But I remember liking it, but not being blown away by it. And I honestly can't even remember any of the characters or who the murderer was. I have kind of like images in my brain, like I'm remembering. So basically, it was a completely average, forgettable murder mystery. That's what I'm trying to say. It was fine. Like, read it when it's cold outside. It was fine. It wasn't the greatest thing ever. It was fine. That's it. And I'm sure I'm conflating parts of this with One by One because of how similar the settings were. So, there's that. And the last book that I read this week was Punching the Air by Ziboi and Yusef Salaam. And this is a YA contemporary novel in verse that is about a teenage boy who is wrongly convicted of a crime he did not commit, and his story as he is in prison and how he deals with being in prison knowing that he's innocent and that he didn't commit the crime he was convicted of, and how he kind of uses art to deal with that and to kind of keep his humanity and personhood and his individuality. And it's a very powerful, very moving book. If you are unfamiliar, Yusef Salaam is one of the exonerated 5. He was also wrongly convicted of a crime he did not commit when he was a teenager, and the whole book is very powerful and impactful, and I read it basically in one sitting. I didn't know it was a novel in verse I somehow missed that because I'd read lots of very positive early reviews for it, and somehow just it completely went over my head that it was a novel in verse, and I had it checked out from the library, and I picked it up. I realized it was in verse, and I basically read it all in one sitting because I couldn't put it down. It was just fabulous. So I would recommend this to anyone regardless of age. It's a book worth picking up, and because it's in verse, it reads very, very quickly and just top-notch, excellent book. And I am so glad that I grabbed this when it came in at the library because I ended up absolutely just adoring this book. It was so well done. So that was everything that I read this week. It's very, very strange coming off of October where I had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books in every video to talk about, and now I'm like, I have 3 books and the same amount of time to talk about it. So yeah, it was a week. I feel like it's a very strange reading week. None of these are books that I typically go for, all very different for me genres, but very different, I think I needed a break after all of the sci-fi fantasy stuff that I read in October, which was intentional. I had saved books I thought would be new favorites, 5 stars, books that I would just eat up for October, and coming off of that was hard, I guess. It was weird going from all these books that I had curated over months and months and months that I thought I was going to love, and then I went back to just kind of reading more generally. And so it's like kind of always a shock when you go from reading books that are all 4 and 5 stars for the most part to books that are just like, they were fine, obviously, except for Punching the Air, which was top notch. So yeah, and in terms of the spread, the planning stickers and all of that, I'm not over this spread. I love it so much. And I intentionally, with the character stickers and the icons, tried to pull in more of the orange, dark brown, burgundy stuff that's kind of in the full boxes, and not so much pulling in stuff that matched the colors, like the 4 colors that were selected for this kit. And I feel like pulling in more of the orange and that coppery color worked out beautifully, and I feel like that elevated what was already a fantastic kit. And I'm really glad I did that, because I was debating when I started pulling stickers, I was debating pulling in all of those orange icons, and I'm really glad I went with my gut, because I think I would not have liked this spread as much if I had stuck to more of the like pale taupe, tan, and gray neutrals. But I think pulling in more of the oranges just took a really good kit and made it a really great kit. If that makes sense? I don't know if that makes sense. But anyways, I'm just putting down the scripts now, and I actually didn't use that many scripts this week, which is different for me. Usually with my memory keeping spreads, I tend to use more scripts, but because I didn't really want to pull in gold or silver foil or do an extra foil with this, I just wanted to use copper. I didn't have as many options for what I could put scripts down for, and I ended up writing a bunch of stuff in, and I actually really like that with this kit. I feel like it worked better, if that makes sense. There's some weeks where having tons and tons of scripts I feel like works better, but with this kit, I think having it a little more like writing and toned down, it worked beautifully. So this is the finished spread, and I am obsessed with how this wiggle turned out. It's perfection. So that is everything from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, the shops that I use will be linked in the description down below, along with a link to my Instagram if you want to keep up with what I'm doing day to day. And I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!